Hello. Is my mic on? I spent about 5 minutes trying to make my mic rather discreet. Didn't work. I have quite a pink tie, so you probably can see the mic. But
it's a lovely tie.
It's a lovely tie. My last birthday, my in-laws, my wife's parents, they bought me a very pink shirt, which I love. You probably have seen it, so I wear it often. And my wife bought me a very pink tie. I don't wear them both together because I'm really pink, which is not a bad thing, but it's a bit weird, to be honest. So on Thursday was True Parents' Day, which used to be known as Parents' Day, not to be confused with the True Parents' Birthday, which people often get confused, I think. Because it's a day, it started off as Parents' Day. And we had different categories. The kind of the biggest important things in our lives, True Parents made days for them. So we had God's Day, so that's a day for God, right, which is important. It's the Lunar New Year, used to be the Solar New Year. We had Parents' Day, Children's Day, and Day of All Things. And then, I can't remember when. I don't think I was born. Maybe I was born. I was very young. True Father said, okay, they're all true now. Right, so you have True God's Day, because God is now true God. He's no longer just God, he's true God. True Children's Day. Then everyone got confused. True Day of All Things, Day of All True Things, Day of All Things True. Not sure where the true goes in that one, but it's now true. I think it's Day of...
True, it should be True Day.
Because the day is not true. It's all things are now true. So is it True Day of All Things, or Day of All Things True, or Day of True Thing, all true things? But then that implies not all things are true, but they are now true.
We'll have to learn Korean.
So true all things, or all things true. But it doesn't make sense. And obviously, the one, True Parents' Day. So this is a day not dedicated to true parents as such, but it's a day when parenthood has now become true. And the people who encompass that obviously are our true parents, who are the first true parents. There's never been any true parents before. There's been one other true person, but sadly, Jesus was crucified before he could have a family, so he couldn't become a true parent. He was just a true man. Before they had Adam and Eve, who flopped, to be honest, didn't do very well. So they didn't become true parents, became parents, but not true parents. As you can see by their children, one of them killing the other one. Not a very good parent if your children kill each other, really. I threw a stone at Hidri once, or twice.
Ooh.
We had a little shed in our garden, and I was standing on the top. I threw a stone, hit him in the face, got in trouble. Yeah. It's not as bad. What he did was he thought one day that it would, for some reason, making a fist like this is better than making a fist like this, right? Which isn't true. But he wanted to test it out on me, so he punched me in the stomach, right? And then I was quite young at the time, so I went crying to my parents. And I was like, he really punched me in the stomach. And they're like, no, he didn't. Stop lying and trying to get your brother in trouble. So I think it's justice that I threw a stone at his face. And he's taller than me now, so he really does deserve it. I'm joking. I love my brother. He's not here, so I can cuss him all I want. No. So, these are just examples of my brotherly relationship. Rather good, if I do say so myself. We've got a good track record of throwing stones. But the point is True Parents' Day, and it's a day where we can try to understand what it means to be a true parent. Aside from that, we had the blessing, which is kind of the first step for all the people who went to become true parents. Before you can become a parent, you need a wife or a husband to help make babies. If you guys haven't had your PSHE lessons yet, I'm sorry, but... you tend to have a man and a woman come together, and through marriage, the mother becomes pregnant, right? That's about all the detail you need. If you need more detail, talk to your parents. They know how it's happened because you exist. Feeling awkward?
Yes.
Feeling awkward? Oh dear! Oh dear! Why? 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 To be honest, why? It's awkward. It's awkward because of the fall, because of these things. Parenthood, sexuality, to be blunt, right? I won't go any more than that. That's just probably the rawest word for today, right? But that whole thing has become defiled. It's not true. And because of that, we feel uncomfortable about it. It's no longer true, right? Well, but true parents have declared it. If you ever read True Father's speeches, when you come across him, True Father's quite a raw guy. He loves to be very detailed. There was one time, my dad tells me a story where True Father said something in Korean. There's a translator there, and he went, and he just couldn't speak. True Father was just laughing. He's like, say it, and he's like, you know how men and women are different? And because he didn't want to say what True Father actually said because it embarrassed him quite a lot. Right? But it's because these things have become false. And True Father is trying to bring back what is that true meaning? What are parents supposed to do? Right? What does it mean to be a parent? What is the parental heart? Right? Taking out my phone because I'm all high-tech and I don't use paper anymore. Partly because I hate paper. It feels weird. I Googled it. If you Google parental and define parental, it comes up with this definition, which is very accurate, but a bit weird. Right? And this is where my title comes from. Parental. It's when you designate the generation of organisms from which hybrid offspring are produced. Right? So the parent is the generation of organisms from which the hybrid offspring are produced. Right? Anyone understand that? Chris, you study.
Biology.
He studies biology.
Yeah.
It's basically two organisms create a third organism through a hybrid of them. Right? You're a mix of your parents. You're a hybrid. Right? Then heart is a hollow muscular organ that pumps blood through the circulatory system by rhythmic contraction and dilation. Very interesting. Is it? Right? Probably not. Well, it is when you talk about the physical side of things, but not when we talk about parental heart as in shimjung, as in the Korean word. True Father defines heart. Right? If you look in Divine Principle and different things, and unification of thought, heart is probably one of our more fundamental words. Right? It's such a deep meaning, actually. It's the irrepressible emotional impulse to receive joy through loving an object. That's what they define heart as. I feel really uncomfortable saying that with Uncle William at the back. I feel I've probably got a word wrong, and he's like, "I'll correct you later." And I'm like, "Oh no," but it was all right. Was it correct? Most experiencing joy. There we go. Through experiencing joy. Impulse of experiencing joy. To experience joy. To experience joy. To giving and receiving love. Right? There we go. Ask. As advertised earlier, there's 7 p.m. DP studies, which I'll probably be going to now on Monday evenings. But it's these two things. So we define parent as the thing that created you. Two parents, the two things that came together and through a hybrid of them created you. Right? So you are the hybrid offspring of the organisms which we call your parents. Right? But it's very physical. We're talking very externally. We talk about what does that really mean when it comes to more than just physical life. What does that mean? Right? Because it's more than that. Your parents didn't just make you, then leave you. Right? Well, they haven't finished making you, to be honest. Right? They've made you physically. But they didn't leave you after that point. They started to help you grow. They started to teach you. And through that, they create you. Right? So they create who you are. I mean, you start off with this kind of fundamental base of who you are. And then through growing up, you become more of a person. Right? I accidentally forgot to ask people to change it to pledge number 3, which was what I kind of wanted to do, but I forgot. So do people know family pledge number 3 off by heart? As the owners of Channel Gook, our family pledges to perfect the 4 great realms of heart, the 3 great kingships, and the realm of the royal family by centering on true love. Right? So in that we have three different things. The four great realms of heart, three great kingships, the realm, the royal family. So what's the four great realms of heart? Do people know that one? There's four. That's fourth is in foundation, the other four. This is the different kind of, the realms of heart, the way you can love people. There's kind of four different ways, set ways that we can love a different person. Right? Kind of as you grow up, let's say. So the first one, the first kind of love that you experience, that you can give, is as a child. Children's love. Right? As a child, how do you love your parents? Right? The second one is siblings. Right? Brothers, sisters, kind of this sort of mix of vertical, horizontal, kind of diagonal relationships where you have older brothers, younger brothers, sisters relating. Right? Then we have, which happened yesterday to quite a few people. They started on that road. Conjugal love. They are now blessed in holy matrimony. True Father has blessed them as a couple for eternity. And that is the only conjugal relationship they should ever experience. Right? That's conjugal. That's husband and wife. And the fourth one, which is, to some extent, it's the last one. It's the perfection of heart. Once you've kind of got to that point. This is the one that God really experiences. This is one that God really kind of wanted to create and drove him to create, which is parental, right? Parental heart. And this is the kind of the fundamental core point that we want to experience. Through those other ones, you kind of learn to get to that point. That's the kind of the beauty of it. As a child, you learn to love, and then you learn to take care of your brother and sister, then you learn to take care of your husband or wife, so then you can take care of your children. It's this development of your heart. This is what the kind of the purpose of life is. The center of the universe is... Someone, please. True Father says this often. The center of the universe is the parent-child relationship. That is the center of the universe. That is the most important thing. That's what the universe revolves around. Everything is down to this parent-child relationship. This is what God wants to give us. Right? And thus, what is the school of love? Another one. Family. Can we have non-youth ministry calling out from now on, okay? If I have any more. I'm not sure if I have any more. Right. I know you know the answers. Right. Which is, it's good though. All of you guys remember these things. Okay, so center of the universe is? The center of the universe is the... Yes. Don't sound so convinced, but it's true. Right? The center of the universe is the parent-child relationship. What is the school of love? Yes! Come on, I've got one family back. Right? Maybe you guys don't believe it yet. Maybe that's the point. I don't know. Maybe just not confident enough to shout out loud. You guys are quite loud. I know you guys. I've had many conversations with you guys, especially the guys. Girls, a little bit. Right? Not as much, I'm sorry. Right? But I'm a guy, so I talk to them more. Be confident about this. This is why do you feel awkward about this? This is a kind of very important thing. Center of the universe is the parent-child relationship. If you can't say it out loud, is it the center of your universe? Right? And that's what I'm trying to get. This is going to be what many are going to talk about. The center of the universe is the parent-child relationship. You have to learn to become parents one day. Not now. Not for a long time. Wait about 10, 20, 30 years is not too bad as well. You'll probably be a better parent by that point. Right? Don't wait too long, otherwise it becomes very difficult, supposedly. Right? Supposedly. I don't know yet. Right? But it's about perfecting your heart. How do you love something? I was reading something in the Metro, I love the Metro, about toys. Right? About kind of this, it was talking about psychology, how children take care of toys. I think it was the Metro. I heard also in hearsay as well from other people, and I read it somewhere after being referenced. And it was talking about children taking care of toys. It's them learning to take care of toys, right? And it's an important thing. And then parents think, they should learn to share, right? And they often feel that that's more important. right, that a child learns to share. And a child taking care of their toys, and then another child snatches it, they start fighting. It was, no, you should learn to share the toys, and then they often stop them from fighting and give the toy to one of them who it doesn't really belong to. It belongs to the first one, and the first one starts crying and says, no, you have to learn to share, and you should be able to give things to people. Yes, it's true, but not when you're a baby, really. That's not quite the point yet. You should learn that later on. Sharing is important. But the first bit is the child learning to take care of their toy, right? And that's quite an important thing. It's this possessive, I'm taking care of it. If they don't want to give it to someone, maybe it's because they don't trust them yet. They want to take care of it themselves. And that's something that they need to learn as a child as well. How do I take care of something? How do I give to something? Right? As a parent, how do I love my toys? Right? And then that sort of heart should be developed throughout their lives. And then when you get to brother-sister relationship, how do I take care of my brothers and sisters? And it's not, once again, it's taking care of a toy, to some extent it's fairly simple. That's kind of a first step. Taking care of a person is quite tough. Right? But if it's a brother or sister, you don't have to take care of them fully all the time. You have your parents to do that for you. But you take care of them bit by bit, and you learn how to do that, especially as you get older and the age difference is a lot bigger. Right? About 5 years ago, I didn't like talking to 12-year-olds, to be honest. When I was 18, 16, 17, 18, I didn't like talking to 12-year-olds. Who's 12 here? Right. I didn't like talking to you. Right? I like talking to you now, don't worry. Right? It's fun. But back then I didn't. It's hard. I find it quite difficult. You learn abstract thought at the age of 12, I heard. So around the age of 12, you're only just starting to become an actual person. Before that, you're just some weird, not quite complete person yet. You don't contain all logic. It makes no sense. You have no reason. I can't tell you to stop crying. I can't explain to you why crying is annoying and you shouldn't do it. Or that's for younger than 12. 12-year-olds are just very hyperactive. They love to think. That was my mentality right then. I didn't know how to love younger people, right, very well. 14, 15-year-olds, possible, right? Especially guys, because I can talk about video games and show them some card tricks, right? And they'll be quite impressed, and I'm quite a cool older brother then, right? But then 12-year-olds, half the time they didn't understand the card trick. I would put the card in the middle of the deck, disappears, comes back to the top. They don't care, and I'm like, why? Right? It was impressive. Not all 12-year-olds. Some 12-year-olds do. If you understand it, thank you. I'll show you some card tricks later. But they don't care. Especially, I tried doing card tricks to my cat once. Nothing at all. I was doing things like that. They don't care. They don't care that the ring's gone. Right? I'm like, why? Because it's not food. If I did it with food, then they don't care at all. They don't, because I do this, right? But they can still smell it over here anyway. So I have to somehow find a way to do magic tricks for cats. My hobby. But anyway, point was I couldn't love them as well. Over the course of doing harp, I was harp leader for 18 months, and I've been to pretty much every single harp workshop for the past 5 years, right? 3 times a year, at least. Sometimes 4 or 5, depending on if I go to other workshops. One summer I did 5, I think. No, 4. Most of them is 4 in one summer. Quite fun. Very good experiences, workshops. And through that, I developed my heart to love younger people, right? It took a long time, but it's getting to that. So now, when I have a child, I want them to be born at the age of 12, right? I don't want them between the ages of 0, ages of 0 and 7. I don't want that, right? I don't want that time. Right? That's the annoying time when they poop themselves still, they cry, they wake you up in the night. I'm scared of this, right? I'm married now, so I actually think about family a little bit, and I'm thinking when I'm 30, right? And then I don't want children. I want a child to come. I'll send them to my parents. They'll raise them until they're 12, and then I'll take over. Right? That's my plan at the moment. I think my mum would actually be quite happy. She loves children, right? So it's possible, right? I'll pay them, right? But ideally, that's something I'm going to learn over the next few years. Hopefully, I can learn to love younger people. I'll learn to love them. And hopefully, when I'm actually related to them, maybe it'll be easier to love them. I'm hoping, but maybe not. Right? Maybe not. I will, don't I? I love them, but in a kind of, I don't like them. There's a difference. But that's something I have to learn. And I only learnt to love younger people through harp. Right? But yeah. The parental heart, what is that? Right? What is it really? People always say, oh, we don't really understand. We understand a bit of it, but we don't understand it fully. What's the difference between a parent and the true parent, a true parent? Right? There's a difference between true parents as well and true parents. Right? There's kind of a difference. There's true parents of heaven and earth, mankind, the original ancestors, true parents, as the people who restored lineage to God and created God's lineage. That's a totally different thing. That's an important thing which we have to learn about. Talk to Uncle William. He understands these things probably a lot deeper than I do. I haven't experienced it as much. It's hard for me to understand really fully what does it mean to be a parent. Right? But what I can do is look at my parents and see how they raised me. What have I gained from them? One thing which I definitely inherited is grumpiness. My dad's he's not fully grumpy, but he can be quite a grumpy person. At church, he'll always get annoyed at the people who stand and talk around the coffee and tea area, because people are trying to get their coffees, and they get their coffee, and they stand there and talk to another person who's got coffee and drink their tea and coffee, and the next person's in line waiting to make their tea or coffee, and can't you just move? Can't you see the other person next to you wanting the tea and coffee, but they stand there and they talk because they're not aware, and this person is too polite to say, excuse me, can you move away from the coffee area? Instead, they kind of work their way around them, get one coffee, then leave, and it takes like 5 times longer. By the time you get there, the water's cold, and there's all lime scaly, and there's no tea left. Right? Or there's only like a little bit of milk, right? Because no one's been bothered to refill it, even though there's a big jug in the fridge. Right? Grumpiness. I inherited that from my dad, right? I think. Right? Not a totally bad thing, because it helps move things, make things better, but it's not very fun when you're grumpy. Right? But that's something I inherited. That's a negative aspect that I inherited from my dad. Right? I think 50-50. Right? I inherited that. I inherited that from the way he raised me. He's quite aware, and that's another thing a good part of it which I inherited. He's aware. My dad's very aware of his surroundings. He's very aware of what people are doing. Right? If someone's standing in the doorway, right, and talking in the doorway when they should allow people through, he notices it straight away. If he's standing in the doorway, he notices when someone's coming close, and he'll move, right, very quickly. Right? He'll put chairs away. He's always doing this. Now he's a service coordinator in South London, so he runs the service. Right? He makes sure things are getting done because he's very aware of those things. He's very good at that, and that's something which I've inherited sometimes. Some things I haven't inherited. I'm not very spatially aware. I'm very clumsy. People may notice I have kicked Chris's wife in the neck once, accidentally, because I wasn't aware of her position and I kicked her in the throat. So Chris kicked my wife in the throat back. No, I'm joking. He hasn't yet. Yet.
Where is it?
She's at football, don't worry. You can't get her. So I want to be more spatially aware, but being aware of people. Right? I'm quite aware of people, I think. And that's something that I inherited good, because I watched my dad doing that. He would often, every car journey, he'd probably mention something that he noticed that someone did wrong, right, or someone did right. Right? He's very good. He compliments people who've done something right. So, I love that. Right? It's very good. You see this. And then he'll say, this person didn't do that. He's very aware of all these different things. That's something I inherited from him simply because he kept saying it. So I'd be aware of it myself. I'd notice these things because he'd say it once. I'd think about it, then I see it. And that's a very positive thing. Right? So what is it that we want to inherit? What is the main thing, or the main things that we want to inherit? What's the main thing? Right? What's the center of the universe? parent-child relationship. So what do you want to inherit from your parents? The parental heart. Right, and this is kind of the point. Right? This is one of the points of history. This is one of the points of true parents, why we need them. Because we need to inherit the parental heart. We need to inherit how to love things properly. Right? And the main thing about that is if I can love something properly with the parental heart, total self-sacrifice, totally offering myself to that person, they can inherit that. And they themselves can learn, I can love someone totally. And I can give my heart totally to someone. I was reading the Chonsong-gyeong. Chonsong-gyeong's got a little section about true parents. Just a section on true parents. And I was reading it. It's quite heavy at the beginning. One part. Is it chapter 8.1, Chonsong-gyeong? I can't remember. Something like that. But it's like, it says you have to be... It was talking to First Gen. I think this was 1980-something. 82, I believe. I probably am totally wrong, but... Go look it up. Just look at the true parent section. And it's saying, to inherit God's heart, to inherit true parents' heart, you have to be deceived. Right? It's quite heavy. You have to go out onto the front line, go out fundraising and witnessing. You have to be deceived. Right? Moses and Jacob were deceived 10 times. Jesus was deceived. He was betrayed. Probably even greater. They betrayed his life, and he was crucified. Right? And it says to really understand God's heart, to understand your parents' heart, you have to go through this. You have to understand this point. If you ever read Crown of Glory, and it's, at the beginning it's talking about being betrayed and being deceived. But the second part is also about if you can go through that and you can still love, I will give you the crown of glory. Right? If you can overcome this persecution, this love, this hate, and just still keep love, I'll give you the crown of glory. Because this is the essential point. Can I give totally in spite of myself? Right, this is what the parental heart is. Hopefully, ideally, we won't have to go through that. Right? This is why our parents went through it. So hopefully we don't have to go through as much. Right? Our parents went fundraising for 7 years. Franklin Fortune basically lived in a van for 20 years or something. I don't know how long he was. I don't know how long was he. He was living in a van. He was doing MFT non-stop for 15 years then maybe. Yeah, 15. A long time. He was living in a van, sending people fundraising, right? Because he was good at MFT. He was a good leader, and a lot of people were on his team. Simon Cooper was on his team. A lot of other people. He's a very inspiring man. If talk to him. So he's probably seen and faced us all the time. You don't have to do it ourselves anymore. Our parents did a lot of that. So we have to just kind of maybe experience a little bit, right? You hear their stories and you experience a little bit, so you understand what it is. What is this point that I have to, how do I love something? How do I inherit that heart that they developed, that they tried to inherit from true parents? Right? True father had to go through such a suffering course just to understand God's heart. What did God go through? But still, he can love. He can love fully. He gives everything. His whole existence is about this parent-child relationship. And for us to really unite with God, that's what we have to learn, this parent-child relationship. Who's Southlanders? Who was there last night at the thingy? Those and the few non-Southlanders. I walked through the door. I said hello to someone. Can't remember who it was. I said hello. They were at the door. Next thing I know, Auntie Tessa grabs my hand and pulls me out of nowhere and says, "Can you do a sketch with us?" And it was just a bit crazy, if you guys remember. Right? Partly because I had no idea what I was doing. I was making up as I went along. But it was just, the story was, we were all puppets, and we had different belief. I didn't believe that there was any such thing as puppeteers, that I was just a free puppet and I could do what I wanted. And I wasn't being controlled at all. But they believed in the puppeteer. But then it struck quite a weird question for me, because it's it's trying to bring this comparison between the puppeteer and God. There is someone there. But I got a bit confused. It's God doesn't control me like the way he controls someone. The puppeteer controls a puppet. He doesn't pull my strings, right? I was a stick puppet. It's pretty much I had to walk around. I was just kind of hopping. You know how they have like one stick for the body, then 2 sticks for the hands. So I had 2 sticks like that. I looked a bit stupid, to be honest. I had some long robe thing and a hat which didn't really match the robe. Because it's like a fishing hat, and I was wearing some kind of Islamic robe thing. And they just gave it to me, so I wore it and I jumped around stage for a bit, pretending to throw up. It was a crazy sketch. Right? It was quite crazy. But at that point, how much does God control my life and whatever? But it's kind of these 3 different things. One was the string puppet being pulled around by God, and he was like, yes, God, lead me wherever. But Auntie Tessa was a glove puppet. And this, I thought, was actually quite a nice analogy, because as a glove puppet is, the hand is the puppeteer, and then the external form is the human. It's this idea you are one with the puppet. You are one with God. Right? We have more control than a puppet. You're not totally, whatever, you're not a puppet. God doesn't control you, you control yourself. But the point is, getting to the point when you are one with God, right? When you're one with his heart, his parental heart, and you can learn to love people. And it's not like you're controlled by God, it's just you are. Right? You're one in the same. You have the same desire. Maybe not the same knowledge. That's the difference between us. God is omniscient and all-present and knows everything. Right? And omnipotent, he can create universes, which we can't do yet. But where your desire is the same as God's, you just want to love. And this is the point, right? So, practical points, after my little spiel. Come to workshops, because workshops is the absolute best way to learn it, I think. To learn how to love people. The Heart Workshop, which is coming up, it's called My Brothers and Sisters Keeper. Who knows that quote? It's from the Bible. When, after Cain killed Abel, God asked Cain, where is your brother? And Cain said, oh, am I my brother's keeper? Right? This kind of, I don't own him, I don't know where he is. When he did know, he just killed him. So it's quite a sad thing. It's like, but it's the idea that he should, maybe not his keeper, but he should know where he is. Right? He should be taking care of him. Right? As a brother, especially he's the older brother. As the older brother, at least, he should be trying to take care of his younger brother. And this is the idea of the workshop. This will be going into that, like, how do you take care of your brothers and sisters? Right? How do you take care of them? Because this gives you that support to help you learn from your parents, to help you learn from each other and from each other's parents. Right? And ultimately, for you to develop your parental heart, your heart. How do I love how do I love people? How do I take care of people? Right, so that's the point of this workshop. So come to workshops. Other ones, talk to your parents. Right? Who here has heard their parents' testimony? Yeah, but I didn't see many hands. Right? Like why they joined the church, how they joined the church. Right? You've heard. That's good. Right? Hear it again. Trust me. My dad told me some other stories recently, which I'd never heard before. Right? They have so many different stories, so many experiences of the true parents and all these different things, which we probably won't be able to have. The closest I've been to true father is about 10 meters away from him, and he probably didn't look at me. Well, he probably did, but I didn't notice it. Sometimes I get a bit, I'm like, and I look around sometimes when he's saying something which is directed at me, I'm like, oh, can't make eye contact anymore. Whereas my dad had this experience where he had a stare down competition with True Father, where True Father, he was sitting in a room, and he was kind of talking, and he'd look at someone, and then as soon as they looked away, he'd go to the next person, right? And he'd just keep looking at them, talking until the person looked away, looked away, and he'd go on to the next person, and just look at them constantly until they looked away, like that. And then my dad noticed this. He was kind of going around, right? He saw it. He's looking. I noticed this. I'm going to beat True Father, right? So he had this determination. I'm going to win. Right? True Father's going to look at me. I'm going to win, right? Or try as long as possible. And True Father looks at him. And he's looking back. I was like, I'm not going to look away. Right? We'll be here forever, right? I'm just going to stay looking here. And then he was doing it for a while, and then suddenly someone did that, and he kind of did that, and True Father's eyes were gone, right? He can't beat the Messiah, not a stare-down competition. Ridiculous, right? But it's an amazing story. It's quite an interesting story. Like, trying to understand what True Father is doing. He's trying to connect to people, trying to understand them. A little bit of a dominating spirit as well, like I am your subject, right? These sort of things. It's an interesting story, right? I'm not going to have that experience with True Father, sadly, right? I would love to, right? I hear stories of people kind of standing there, True Father walks past and compliments their tie. Compliment my tie. Not going to happen. I'm probably not going to be that close to True Father. I can't afford to go to Korea, and True Father doesn't come to England very often. He probably won't come again. He might come again, hopefully, maybe one more time, if we're lucky. But high chance that he won't. Right? Grab these experiences, right? Our parents haven't fully inherited everything from true parents, but they've inherited something. They've inherited quite a lot, right? And often directly, people like Auntie Barbara van Prague, her experience with the True Father, some of them are just amazing. Like I remember we had a choir for, I think it was a True Mother event. I was quite young, and we were about to sing, and then there was a webcam link to True Father, who was on the big screen, and then Auntie Barbara was there, and then he saw Auntie Barbara, he was like, Barbara! And he knew her name. He said her name directly. I was like, I wish True Father knew my name. Right? And he was like, Kenta! You've gained some weight. Right? That's what he actually said to Auntie Barbara at the time, and she laughed, and True Father laughed, and it was quite funny. They're quite personal. Right? Very personal experiences. Right? And every single one often is about how much the heart and the love True Father gives off. Just this aura. Like who went to the Hundaké with True Father when he was here? Right? Amazing experience for me. Right? True Father is hilarious. He's such a funny guy. And the fact that he just kind of picks up sweets and just throws them to the audience and just makes fun of us by throwing it backwards. Right? It's like, want some? No. Right? Denied. Right? Then laughs at us and then throws some more sweets out. I didn't get one. Right? I was really annoyed. I was right at the edge. You're throwing it in the middle. It's unfair. Right? They're like Lindor like chocolates, like the ones with the really soft insides. Right? I really like them. True Father didn't give me one. But other people got it, and I can talk to them about it, how good it tasted, right? And that's something I can inherit. That love, you have to inherit it. You have to inherit it, and you have to be able to do it, because that is the point. The center of the universe is?
Parent-child relationship.
One more time. Center of the universe is? No, not you two. Center of the universe is? Good, right? And the school of love is the? Right? You are the what? Of who? And more than that. There's other people involved in that. Right? It's not just your parents anymore. Right? Not just your family. Well, yes, but more than that. Right? Who created you? Right? Why are you here? Right? Who put your parents together? So those are your parents, right? It's not just your parents. Mostly your parents. Definitely physically, it's your parents. Right? But you're part of God's lineage, right? Right? You're part of God's lineage. You're part of true parents' lineage. And that's the heart we have to inherit. And I can't emphasize that enough, right? I was looking for a quote. I was looking really hard for a quote that really encompassed that, but I couldn't find one in time. So I didn't want to give one that didn't fully do it. But there's so many small points. In Chonsong Gyong, there's a whole section on it, and I was reading through it, but I couldn't find a little section which was inspiring that was short and concise enough. There's some long sections which are really interesting, but I didn't want to read a long thing. But read these things. These are True Father's words. They're written down. True Father, he's been very careful to write these things down. Right? Read True Father's autobiography. Read Divine Principle. Read Chonsong Gyong. Right? Read the 8 texts. Family Pledge. Right? It's actually quite short. There's only 8 sentences. Right? Number 8 is quite a long sentence. Number 2 is quite a long sentence. But there's only 8 sentences. Right? But they're so powerful. Right? They're one of the 8 texts. Like True Father's made it pretty much as important as Chonsong Gyong and Divine Principle. Right? It's one of the 8. Right? One of the 8 is all of True Father's words. Right? Right? True Father says, and then the volumes of my speeches, that's the 8th one or something. which is quite a lot. There's quite a lot there, but all of that pretty much has everything True Father says is encompassed in the Family Pledge. Read Family Pledge. Right? Read it over and over again. I remember reading somewhere, you should read it 5 times a day. Right? Hyungjin probably at one point said, read it 8 times a day. Pray 8 times a day, read Family Pledge 8 times a day. Right? Right? 8, the number of new beginnings. It's so deep. We don't read it enough. We just recite it. Right? We just recite it. We don't read it. Right? I do that thing, I probably mentioned it to you guys before, you do that thing where you read number 1, you try space out as long as possible, but your mouth keeps reading. Right? It's amazing. Right? And you keep reading it, and then you suddenly jump back in. And once you jump back in, it's very hard to go back again, to jump again. And you go in, and you come back at 3, and you're like, I didn't skip enough, and I have to read the rest. Right? Or you can read 1, and you go back, you come back halfway through 8, and you're like, yeah, come on, I've spaced out the whole thing. Bad thing, don't do it. Right? It's fun, but don't do it. Right? Because they are so deep. Right? Just the basic structure of each one. As the owner of Chunul Guk, our family pledges centering on true love. Right? The things that you're saying there, that you've said however many hundreds of times, right? Our family, as a family, who own Chunul Guk, right? We are owners of Chunul Guk. We create Chunul Guk. It belongs to us. Right? True Father, God has created it for us. We own it. Right? Not just in the video game terms, but in actual possessive terms. I am the parent of Chunul Guk. Chunul Guk belongs to me. Right? Centering on true love, not love, true love. Right? It's all because of true love. It's such deep things, and that's not even going into the actual context of it. True Father says something, the family pledge is the foundation of the Unification Church. But how much have we actually really studied it? These sort of things really give across True Father's heart. There's so much depth to it, so much there. So, okay, I'll leave it at that one. All right? I won't go into the other ones. I'll just leave it there, so you don't have to think about too many things, right? So when you go from here, family pledge, because that's easy to read. There's only 8 points there, right? Read it, right? Not during pledge. Actually, go out and read it in your own time. Make time for it. Right? Just go home and read it. Don't have to recite it. Don't have to say it out. Just read it, right? Read the words, each word. Right? Talk to your parents about how they join the church, why they join the church, these sort of things. And come to workshops. Right? Those 2 things. I'm just going to leave it at those 3. Who's coming? Who's already signed up for the Heart Workshop? Right? Cool. Who hasn't? You can put your hands up too. Yeah. Yes, Emir, not coming and proud. Right? Come. I miss you. I don't talk to you enough. I love you, Emma. Because you're not 12. You're a bit older. A bit. No, I love 12-year-olds too. Right. A little bit. Not as much. I'm sorry. Amy's cool. He rows boats. But those 3 points, please keep those in your mind, okay? Parental heart, really study that. Would you like to join me in prayer? You don't have to, but I would like you to. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you that we could all be here today as brothers and sisters to come before you, to share together, to try experience some of your love, Father, and try to inherit some of that, Father. I feel very unqualified, actually, to be talking about parental love. It's not something that I can say that I've mastered in any way. I haven't experienced it. But it's such an important thing, and as we've just gone past True Parents' Day, it's something that should be on our minds and in our hearts, Father, as all the people have been blessed recently, and they're making their way into that, Father, towards that. They're developing their hearts, not even deeper, not past the child, past the brother and sister relationship, but into a conjugal relationship, Father, where they can understand the creative process. They can understand what it means to become one in heart with another person, centered on you, where they can really experience who you are. A perfect union of masculine and feminine, positive and negative, internal and external, Father, where we can inherit that heart and learn to raise children in your image in substance, Father, in actual form of you, creative as well. So pray you can be with us now as we all, as we come before you, as we worship you, as we have a good time together, Father, as brothers and sisters, and try to connect to you. I pray you can enjoy this day with us, that the good weather, the laughter, the singing, the conversations can be one that you can come into and experience joy. So I'd like to report this on behalf of all my brothers and sisters here. And my name, Kenta, son and husband of the Barrett Blessed Central family, Arjun. Thank you very much.